offered to contact a lawyer, but Aras refused to let an Akaya's lawyer control the evidence. Leila suggested using an independent legal aid group that helped the children or doing the closer case. Notice make that the lawyer advised them not to publish another yet a private DNA report and all recording are powerful. Then the recording may face question about his secure and the editing. They should present that the original memory card, document every transfer and make a formal request for the hospital. And to survive fire, the lawyers also want Teoman that the changing his legal identity is not automatic. His current record remains valid until a court examines that the adoption. Teoman say he is not asking that the state to change his name today. He wants the state to admit that his name was changing without consent. The lawyers understand and promise to meet them in the morning. Until then, no one should confirm that the possible drivers own and sender alone. Aras listens but does not promise. Leila seen that the stubborn movement in his dress and they pull him aside. He tells him that the finding damage should have taught him the danger of the running faster. Then that the trust, if he faces toward that the crass secret, the person behind that the massive will control him. Aras say his parents may have been killed and he cannot sit in the room drinking tea. Leila answered that careful action is still action. She is not asking him to forgive and wait forever. She is asking him to stop giving every enemy that the same easy way to move him. One clue, one threat, and has become a weapon pointed whenever they choices they were reach it. He agreed that they would go together after Sahad is safe and the evidence is protected. Teoman said that the disagreement and feel impossible if he had not existed inside that the Akaya's family. Perhaps Aras will have found that the crash turned earlier. Aras rejected immediately. He said Teoman was a baby. None of this belonged on his shoulders. Teoman replied that he still stands inside his feet. The family with this called the holiday and the confirmed him joy may have grown from the same power that the silence Aras. Aras said Gail will not return that the lost heirs were Teoman does now matter more than what was given to him as a child. Teoman look at the Hackens and say he wants access to every old company files. Hacken agrees. Sabnam has removed many boxes from the villa, but a separate business archive remains under Hacken control. It will open it for them. Hacken then asked for a private consultation with the Teoman. Aras prepared to refuse, but Teoman said that the choice is in his. They walk into the empty outcourse. Hacken tried to explain that the night he first learned that the baby identity. Sabnam has brought Teoman home under a temporary care orders and told Hacken that the child has no close family. Hacken later discovered Aras' name on the hospital note, but then Hacken was discovering from the loss of her one baby and had formed a strong bond with the damaged. Second, fear she would harm herself if the child was taken away. He also now that his feather vehicle was linked to the crash. His father told him that a dryer lost control in the rain and that reporting it would destroy dozens of the employees. And the family business. Hacken accepted bought exclusive before they allow him to keep that the life he wanted. Teoman asked whether Hacken entered say Aras. Hacken admitted that he did 2 years after that the accident. He visited one of the farms where Aras had lived. Aras has recently been transformed again, but Hacken say a photograph of him on a notice board is stored there for almost the hours. He asked where the boy went. Instead, he left human eyes filled with anger. He said that the decision was not made to protect Sabnam. It was made because Hacken did not want to look at chills who prove his family experience happiness as a victim. Second, accept this. Teoman say he may one day understand that the fear, but he will never call that the silence an act of love. Hacken says she should not before Hacken can say more. His phone rings. Sabnam had discovered that the sir had escaped and that the safe was open. She tells Hacken she is living with Villas. Hacken asks where she will go. She says somewhere Teoman cannot be turned against her by the people who never rise him. Teoman take that the phone and tell her he was not turned against her. She push him away every time she chooses a life. Sabnam began to cry and asked him to come home for one conversation. Teoman say he will speak when she is ready to answer in front of their eyes. She refuses. He called at the end. Hakan says Sabnam become more dangerous. When she believes love is being taken from her, Teoman replied that if Hackens now this, he should help him Carl find her before she destroys more evidence. Noor reinforced her to be examined at a simple small clinic by a doctor she trusts. His injuries are the painful but not life-threatening. He gives a former recording statements with a lawyer present. During that the statement, he remembered that the name of an old mechanism who survived at the company vehicle after that the crash. The mechanicals was called camels and run a grace near that the abandoned survive stations had provided him to replace that the damaged front light and repair one side of the vehicles. Camel asked questions so Hakan father provided him extra and the later helped him move away. Sarhat here that he returned to the area after retirement. The photograph may have come from him at Rans Aras Leila Romance and the Daniels traveled to the abandoned station. Second follow in another car. With our lawyers, the building is lighter more than the broken window and a rusty roof with covered at the old palms. Behind at the station they find a small house that still appears occurs. A kiter seat near that the window and first tires make rows that the dirt. As knock, no one answered. The door is unlocked inside the wall are covered without newspaper report about road accident and the Kaya business. A camera, an old computer, and the stack of photographs sit on the table. The room looked like less behind, like a home, that a place where someone has spent a waiting to speak. Leila see that one photograph is missing from a number set. The remembering imagine showed that the road minute after that the collisions. In the first, the dark company vehicle is close to the family car. In the second, a man pulls sometime from the company vehicle. In the third, flame began near that the yellow car. In the fourth, the company vehicle is gone. The missing image show that the what happened before between that the second and the third moment. Teoman checked that the camera and find a recently deleted file. Then say it might be recovered as she connected that the camera card to the computer. Footsteps sound behind that the house. Aras ran outside and see an older man entering a small car. He called for him to stop. The man drive away. Aras ran to Ace on feet, but Leila take that the key from the parked vehicle and tell everyone to get in. She drive while Aras watching that the older man's car ahead. The road survived through the low hills. Leila keep a safe distance because she does not want to threaten her into speeding. Teoman Carl Hacker who refuses a side road to move ahead. At the next crossing, Hacker parked across one's lane, forcing that the other man to stop. Aras approaching slowly with empty hand. He said they are not there to punish him. They now only want to know what he said. The man look at the hacker and say, Akayas always arrive with gentle word. After that, the damage is done. The man is camel. He admits sending the photograph. He watches that the group from a distance after news of Ras searching spree through town. He wanted to know whenever Ras cared only about finding damage or was strong enough to face. The death of his parents tell him that testing a person with pain is not courage. Camille accepted that the Christians he has lived with the fears and that the cross second father that the threatened his wife and small children. By the time the other tired that Camille has confessed himself. That silence protected everyone. Now the children are dead, his wife is gone, and the silence protect only him. As us who drove that the company vehicles camel say he was not the Hakan. The driver was Hakan older cousins or man trusted by the Hakan father to enter private business. He has been drinking on the back road. He crossed at the center line and attacked at the yellow car. The collision alone did not kill everyone. Ra's father was injured, but the consequence, the cousin and other man pulled Demi from the car because the baby was easy to reach. They left us, his mother and his father inside while arguing about what to do. Camille arrived in his survived truck and demanding that they call an ambulance. The cousin refuses. He pours fuel near that the damaged car to destroy sign of the collision. Camille secretly took photographs from the station's camera screens and then called emergency service from a public phone. Aras anger because too strong that he cannot speak. Sailor stand close, but he had decided with her to take his hand. He does. Teoman asked that the cousin's name. Camille said that the man later changed his surname and left Turkey. Hakan said he was told that the cousin that years ago in accident. Camille shared his and the story was created to close that the question. The man is alive and still receives money through an Akaya accident. Hakan looks shocked, but Camille say Hakan father controlled that the payment until his death. After that, someone also continued it. Hakan then it knowing Camille asks whenever Sabnam control any private family account. Hakan silence showed that she does. Camel gave us that the missing photograph. It shows a man holding a fuel container beside that the allen's car while Ra's father reaches through a broken window. The face is partly visible. Hacker recognizes his southern. Teoman turns away, seen by the idea that his comfortable chill was protected through money sent to his man. Ras was the camel kept at the original Castres. Camel say Hakan father visited at the garage after that the repair and threatens him. Camel recorded that the conversation using a device hidden under a workbench. Years later, she gave a copy to Sir but kept that the original. The cassette contained that the oldest Akayas naming that the driver, describing that the fires and the ordering cabin to stay silent. They return to the house but the secret is gone. The door remains open and the table has been disturbed. Danny says someone entered while they were on the road. The number photograph are still present, which means the interactor know exactly what to take. Hakan calls Sabnam. Her phone is off. Teoman accusing him of warning her, but Hakan give him phone on the lawyers and tell him to check every call. Scammers say only 3 people know where he left at the secret himself, Sahat and the other's cousin. Sahat had been under supervision. They believed that the man who killed at the crash was someone active for him. The lawyers Camille to enter protective custody and give a statement. Camille agreed on one condition: Aras must promise not to hurt that the driver alone. Aras's promise had been used too often to control his search. Camille replied that he is not trying to protect that the driver, he is trying to prevent Aras from becoming another young man who let that the Akai's family decide that the direction of his life, justice in witness alive. Aras finally agreed. Camille recorded a full statement and over the original photograph. Danny successfully restored that the deleted camera file, but it is not an image from the crash. It is a recent video of Sabna meeting a man beside that the survived station 2 nights earlier. The man kept his back to the camera. Sabnam gave him an envelope and pointed towards Camel House. Hakan recognized that the code has won his cousin afterwards, but 17 years have passed and the video is unclear. Teoman asked why Sabnam will meet that the man who killed his birth parents. Hakan says she may have continued at the payment to keep him away. Aras says playing a killer is not protected. It is a partnership. Hakan insists Sabnams never spoke that the dash. She may have feared that the cousin revealed that the legal placement and take too many identity apart. Leila say every defense of Sabnam's end with the exact excuse she heard someone because she feared losing what she climbed at her. The group returned to the children's home where the legal and the slayer began organizing separate cases. One concerned human illegal placement and the alter record. Another concern that the original collisions and the destructions of the evidence and the possible murders are third concern. Recent threat against Sahat and the thief from Camel House. The lawyer warned that the whole crime may be difficult to prove after so long. Some suggested are the death record, are the damage and the defensive will attack that the witness motive. The DNA result is strong, but it proves only that the brother relationship. The recording on the memory card proof concealment, not the fire. Camera photograph and the testimony are important. The original secrets could connect everything. Someone asked what happened to Hakan. The lawyer say Hakan recording world and the admit rule in changing document may expose him to serious charges. I can say he will accept it that Teoman study him unsure whenever with her to respect that the choices or hate how late it came. I can transfer copies of all company achieved to the lawyers and sign permission for investigator to examine that the account. One payments appear every third month under that the name of a consulting company that does not visible word that receiving base is outside Turkey, but the recent withdrawal occurred in the boardroom. The cousin is likely nearby. Dennis finds another patron. Every withdrawal is followed by a payment from an account managed by the Subnum. The latest was made the morning after Aras entered at the villa. Teoman says she knew that the trust was moving closer and invited that the cousin to return. Hakan says she may have inspired him to leave. Dennis replied that the answer must come from the Subnam, not from another person. Explaining her actions, Teoman sent his mother a message containing one still made from the video. He wrote that now she made that the raver. If she wants any changing to keep a relationship with him, she must come to the home and tell that the trust before that the police find her. The message show has delivered but receives no reply. What they will tells her Leila find us alone in the old play yard. He is looking at the photograph of his father inside that the burning car. She asked whether he want to work. He said that he want to break every wall that the chaos once. Leila tell him that anger is honest but it cannot be allowed to choose it that the next step. Aras says his parents share imagining that the class has a terrible accident. An accident has no face to hate. Now she knows that a man could have called for the help and sees Tracy fires. Leila says it may feel like a connection to his parents. But it will not hurt her if we destroy that. The young they save us how she can now that they would want. She says she cannot, but she now they want. Name his Aras receive rise him to protect a baby and left enough love in him to serve for 17 years. That love is better evidence of them that a last photograph folded the image and they put it away. He apologized for helping Leila outside his the trust. He said that the apologize matter but trust must be rebuilt through many small choices. He asked it coming to her before casing camel count at once. She said, does he tell her he is afraid that once the legal fight begins, every person closer to him will be attacked. Leila answered that fear should lead to the preparation, not distance. They agree to tell each other before taking any risk. This is not a romantic promise made under stress. It is a practical rule created inside a damaged playground and it feels stronger than a promise they made when life was easier. Inside, Teoman is having a different conversation with Dennis. He thanked her to staying. Danny say he studied because he choices to, not because he accepted anything. So now she still has feeling for us, even if this is feeling are changing. He says she does not want his a quiet answer about what exists between them. Dennis tell him that the last few days had made every emotional feel too loud. She cared for the Teoman. But she does not want pain to push him into a relationship before they understand themselves. Teoman agrees. He joked that they enter a board and distilling family weakness is already too much for 1 week. Danny smiled and said their friendship can survive without a label. The honesty give out of them relief. Their evening Samnam arrived alone. She wear no makeup, her clothes were yet, and she looked like someone who has been trying without rest. Teoman meet her in the male hall with Aras second and the lawyer present. She wants a private conversation, but Teoman refuses. He says secret grow in private room. The trust will be spoken where everyone harmed by it can hear. Sabnam looked at the Aras with open resentment. She says she came to the boardroom and the toys are part of family. Aras answered that the family was already tied around a hidden wound. He only removed at the clothes. Sabnam admitted meeting Hassan cousins. He called his Arhan. After Hakan's father died, Aras connected her and they threatened to revolt at the class and adoption. She fired him for the heir to stay away. She says she never approved to the fire and did not know about it when she took Demi from the hospital. By the time she learned, Thomas had lived with her for 2 years. Reporting Ernest will also expose it that the altar placement she had losing her son and the Hakan. Hakan asked when she did not tell her Hakan was alive. She said Hakan was weak. Whenever guilt entered the room, they might have confused and destroyed them all. Hakan replied that her strength was simply fear. Wearing expensive clothes, Teoman asked whenever she is told that the secret from Camel House. Sabnam said no, she pied Arhan to leave boardroom after us began searching. She warned him not to touch Camel. Teoman asked whenever Arhan says now. She said he has the castle and want to trade it for enough money to disappear forever. He gave her until midnight if she involved at the police. He will release other evidence that make her look like a person who ordered that the fire. Ras say if the evidence is false, she can find it. Sabnam say public trust is not decided only in court. One imagine can destroy a family before fact alive. Ras asks when Arhan's want beside money. Sabnam say he wanted the hospital bracelet and the original placement order before they prove when the Akais continue to pay him. Teoman still he has the bracelet and the placement's order remains in the villa safe. Ernest believes trending that the secret for this is atom will allow him to trace that the link between that the class and the adoption. The lawyer said they must contact that the police and arrange a controlling exchange. Sabnam refuses. She believes Ernest will Teoman if he sees police. Teoman says she does not get to make another decision through the fear he gives that the bracelet to the lawyer for keep searching that the key a copy can be used in the exchange. Hakan offered to go in Teoman places. Ras said Ernest asked for the object not as a person. No one should meet him until that the police are involved. Sabnam suddenly grabbed Teoman's hand and begged him not to trust that the law with his life. Teoman gently removed her fingering. He said she once had a chain to trust the love with damaged life and choosing herself instead. Now he will choose it differently. The lawyers called an investigator and began planning. Sabnam watching that the group more without obeying her. For the first time, she has not control over the story. Her fear becomes sharp. He left at the room saying she need help. Dennis noticed her take a second phone from her bag. Sabnam goes behind at the building and calls Arhans. She tells him and that the group has the recording from the memory card and Camille photograph. His secrets is not longer enough to control them. Arhan says he also had the full hospital ledger and a statement signed by Hakan's father. Sabnam asks when he truly wants. He says he wants as the young man has become too dangerous because he will never stop. If Arhans bring Aras to that the old stone quarry, Arhans will give her every original document and leave Teoman untouched. Sabnam says she will not help him kill Aras. Arhans reminds her that she has already allowed Aras to lose 17 years. One more loss will present that the son she chooses he and that the cause. Dennis has followed at the distance and hear only the final word. She sees Sabnam delete the call record instead of comforting her. Daniel tells Teoman they inform Aras Hakan and the lawyers. They Aras want to use himself as the white. Everyone refuses. He says Aras will not appear for a copy bracelet if he truly wants Aras. The investigator reaches by the phone say a controlling operations may use that the damage but it requires time and train officer midnight is only 3 hours away. They need that the exact location. Dennis remember hearing that the wall stone and the old road Hacker now an abandoned quarry once owned by the company. It lies beyond that the hills and has similar interiors. Sabnam required return and releases there now. She refused Dennis of speaking. Teoman said Dennis listened because Sabnam kept proving that the silence is dangerous. Aras asked with her she planned to deliver him. Sabnam said no, but hesitations appear before that the answer. Aras see it, he tell her that the living Teoman does not make every other life worthless. Teoman asks his mother to choices now in front of him. She can help him arrest Arhans, or she can continue protected that the lie. Sabnam breakdowns and give that the second phone to the lawyers. It contained her message and the locations coordinate. He says she never wanted us, that she only wanted him for enough away that the Teoman will remind her. Thomas replied that the people are not owned by the person who loved him more disappearedly. The police prepared team near that the quarry. The lawyers instead asked to follow every order. A listening device is placed under his shirt and a copy of the hospital bracelet is put in a small envelope. Teoman insists on being nearby but agreed to remain in a protective vehicle with Leila and the Danish second and the Sabno wait at the room under police ward before Arhans may have other men's inherited a possible rare escape from an old company map. Camille stay at the clinic with protection. Before Aras left, Teoman stopped him. He said they found each other only hours ago and Aras is already walking into danger again. Aras promised he is not gone alone. Teoman said this is not enough. He needs Aras to understand that his life no longer belongs only to his search. Aras has a brother who will feel every wound. The statement surprised them about Aras' note and the promise to return. Teoman gave him that the real hospital bracelet with this lawyer has sealed in a protective bracelet. He said Aras may recognize that the copy, but the real object could make him talk. The lawyers object yet said that the envelope has already been photographed and the document. He take it at the quarry's Aras wall between high wall of the paste on moonlight turned at the ground. Silver's hands appear on the lead with a gun and order him to place that the bracelet in the center of the open space. Aras asks for the secret funds. Arhan throws down a small bag. Insists it's an old tab, but Aras cannot now with her it is original. He asks why Arhan killed his parents. Arhan said that the collision was an accident. The fire was a decision made in panic. He believed Aras that the other were already dead. Aras said his father was reaching through the window and has become unstill. Releasing camera has showing that the missing photograph. He said Hakan father ordered him to remove that the evidence. Aras asked with her that the order including fire. Arhan said that the old man did not need to use exact words. Everyone in the family understood what happened meant. Aras kept his tracking while the officer moved through that the real passive Arhan admitted returning to the hospital after that the crush because he wanted to know with her any child survive. He said Sabnam holding Damir. When he learned she wanted that the baby, he offered Hakan's father a solution, said that the jail identity but no surviving family member would connected to the adoptions to the family vehicle. The statement revealed that the Teoman's illegal placement was only Sabnam disappear act. It became part of the crossover from the beginning. As with her Sabnam now, Arhan says she now enough not to ask the answer. Leave out brother facing a betrayal larger than the other family has yet admit or the understood. To name one's life in the protective vehicle, Teoman said that the conversation through that the police channels, the word heard more than the DNA result. His life was no merely word on a grieving woman, wrong choices. His identity was useful to people hiding a crime. Leila tell him that Warren's views of him does not define his word. Human say his now his knowledge cannot stop that the feeling of being used and it remind him that Ras never searching for a pieces of the evidence. He searching for a brother that it is a meaning to humans can choices. At Aquarius has noticed a movement above and the fire toward that the list. Police order him to drop that the weapons. He grabbed at the castet's badge and run into a tunnel. Ras followed dispatch that the command to stay back. Inside that, the turners Arhans now him down and reaches for the hospital bracelet. Aras find him driven by the airs of grief but stop when he gained control. Arhans accept Aras to beat him. Aras hears Leila warning in his mind and stay away. keeping that the man's and gunpoint with Arhan's Phelan's weapon without touching that the triggers. Officer arrive and asks Arhan the secret is recovered as they lead him. Arhan look at the Teoman who has left at the vehicle displays instruction. He called him damn it and said that the wrong ship survived. Aras left forward but Teoman stopped him. Teoman tell Arhan that the bow children survive and that is why that the trust survived too. Arhan is taken away. The brothers stand under that the quiet is life, shaken but alive. The next episode of Daha 17, Aras stands outside that the Akaya villa while every light inside burned behind him. He has entered at the place to reach Sahar, but he has left with more questions than answers. His shield is torn, one hand is bleeding, and the anger in his face is mixed with fear. He knows that the hacker will not let him come near that the family again. He also knows that the Leila has finally seen the part of him that he tried to hide. For weeks he told himself that the silence was the only way to protect him. Now that the silence has made her doubt him, Leila follows him through the garden and calls him name, but he does not stop until she stands directly in front of him. She asks why he broke into the villa, why she risks everyone's safety, and why the name damage has suddenly become more important than every promise he made to her. Aras look at her and understand that another weak answer will end everything between them. There he tell her that the damage is not a stranger, an enemy or a man he want money to. Damir in his younger brother, the only member of his birth family who may still be alive. He come to boardroom because an annoying person told him that the Damir was there. He did not tell Leila because that the people who separated that the brothers still have power and anyone who get close to the trust before a target. Leila listen without interrupting. Her anger does not disappear because its shape changing. She is no longer angry because Aras has a secret. She is hurt because he decided for her that she could not face it. Aras tried to explain that he has spent most of his life losing people. Her parents died when he was a child. His brother vanished it into another family, and every home he entered after that was temporary. When he began to care for Leila, he became afraid that the same darkness would reach us. Leila answered in a voice that hurt him more than the shooting world. He said love cannot live where one person knows that the end dangerous and the other person is keep blind. If he wants her beside him, he must stop treating her like someone who needs permission to know that the trust. Ras admit that she is right. He tell her about Sahar, the secret call, the false report that claimed Damir was dead, and the strange letter Sahar whispered before Hassan took him away. Ras remember each other's sound but cannot place them in order. The latter feel like broken pieces in his mind. Leila answered, asked him to say them slowly as he repeat them. She write them on the back of an old receipt from her pocket. The move that the letter around at their first from nothing. Then Leila circle one group, look toward the Leila and quietly say a name. Neither of them expected Teoman for a moment. Ras refused to accept it. He said Sahar might have been warning him about Teoman, not identify him. He called not the mean that the Teoman knows something and the Teoman is in danger or that a document is hidden in Teoman room. Leila agreed that they must not jump to the conclusions, but he also reminded Ras how often his path has crossed Teoman. Teoman was connected to the old newspaper report. He found Sahar phone. He has memories of fire that he cannot fully explain. His parents become nervous whenever he asks about that the past. Ras think about the first time he meet Teoman and the strange feeling that came before any friendship or anger. He had seen something familiar in a boy's eyes, but had pushes that the way before hope can be cruel when it was not proof. If Teoman is damaged, that Ras has been standing beside his brother without knowing it. If Teoman is not damaged, telling him his theory could destroy a young man who already feel and wanted in his one home. Aras fold that the receipts and say they need evidence before they speak. Leila agree, but she make him promise that they will search together. That time he does not agree. Inside the villa, Teoman is awake in the house that suddenly feels similar that a look room Hakan with orders everyone to stay away from Aras. Sabna moves through that the room pretending to be calm, yet Teoman noticed that she checked every door and takes her phone from a drawer before hiding in her bag. He asks why Ras came to the villa, but I can tell him it is an adult matter. Teoman laughed without armor and said adult in his house usually that the phrase whenever they are afraid of a question. Second warned him not to test him patience. Teoman replied that the patient is not that the problem. Trust is he leads to the thing. No one has explained the panic after the yak incident. The all fire, the newspaper cuttings, her cigarette call, and the way Sabnam looked at their ass as if his assistant could put that the wall down. Sabnam tell him he's tired and the confused. Teoman asks with her confessions is another word for remembering that the question freezes her. She quickly changed that the subject, but Teoman see that the answer she failed to hide. Later, Sibnam entered Hackle's study and closed the door. Her climb must failed at the moment they are alone. She tells him that Sarhat has become impossible to control. Sarhat will speak if they keep him frightened enough, but Sabnam does not believe fear will work forever. Sarhat has already given Aras a clue. They do not know how much Aras understood. Hakan asks what she wants him to do. Sabnam says Teoman must be taken away from boardroom before that. The next questions lead to a blood test. Hakan refuses, sending Teoman away without a reason, only make him more suspicious and Leila will fight them. Sabnam says suspicion is safer than the uncertainty. Hakan looked toward at the closed door and lowered his voice. He reminded her that the Teoman is their son is every way that has mattered for years. Sabnam answered that love will not protect them if the trust become public. Their families, their business, and human future could all collapse. Hakan asked Vita she is worried about human futures on her one crime. Sablam eyes her done. She said they both made choices and neither of them can now pretend to be innocent. Unknown to him, human stand in the corridor. He cannot hear every word, but he hears enough. He catches that the phrase blood test taken away and neither innocent. He stepped back before the door opened and returned to his room. His first instinct is to call Dennis because she is the one person who can make him laugh. When the house becomes heavy, his second instinct is to keep her away. Dan is already crying pain because of Aras and Leila, and Teoman does not want to pull her into another family battle. Still, he sent her a short message asking with her she is arrived. She answered at once. He types survival question, delete them, and finally asks that it should believe him if he said that his interior life might be built on a lie. Dennis Carl insists of replying. Teoman watches that the phone ring. He cannot bring himself to answer. He turned it face down and began searching his room for the old newspaper cutting. Across town, Ras and Leila go to the small room where Ras has been staying. The room contained very little, but every object showed that the life of someone who expects to live quickly. There is one bag, two shirts, a worn photograph, and a notebook filled with date and addresses connected to the damage. Leila see how long Aras has cried his search alone. One on page has been written. Every family that might has adopted a boy of a damaged age. One another he has drove at the room from the place of the accident to the hospital where that the children were first taken. Similar name that had crosses out. So her that the paper stones. Leila touches that the old photograph it shows Ras has a small child holding a baby wrapped in a pale blanket. Ras says it is the last photograph of the brother together. He does not remember who take it. He only remember promising that the baby that he could never let go. Leila tells him that a promise made by a frightened child will not become a punishment for a man that the child grow into. Ras answered that finding damage is not punishment. Failing him is the study the notebook until down. Leila noticed that the Teoman birthday is close to the damage. But not exactly that's the same. Aras said that can be exchanged in the legal adoption record. Leila remembered that the Teoman's one side Sabnam never showed him photograph from the year he was born. Whenever she said that the family locked a box during that move. Aras then remembered the fire that the Teoman seen in broken flashes. The official story said Teoman witnessed a fire years after he was born, but perhaps that the memory is already connected to the night their parents lived. Aras is careful not to turn guesses into fact. He writes the possible meaning for the third clue. First, human is damaged. Second, human now where damage is without losing it. Third, the archives use human identity in document connected to the damage. Leila add up for someone want us to suspend human so that he stop. Looking elsewhere, Ra smiled for the first time that night and tell her she think like a detective. Leila says she has to because the person she loves think like a storm. The world left hanging between them. Leila looked away still until whenever she should have sighed it after what happened. Ras does not use the moment to ask for the forgiveness. He tells her that she does not have to decide anything about them tonight. She is free to walk away from this search if it becomes too dangerous. Leila becomes angry again, but this anger warms. She says she is still trying to make the choices for her. Till she take that the notebook from his hand and write her name beneath it. She said that is her answer. They will find that they trust, but they will do it without breaking into another house, hitting anyone, or rushing at the first clue. As promised to try. Leila raises an eyebrow at the word try. He changing it to promise for the first time their partnership feel honest, even if the relationship is not yet healed. At sunrise, Dennis arrives at the German houses after receiving another message that they simply say, "Come before my family week." She find him near the side gate with a backpack. Yeoman say he need help getting into the old storage building or by the kayaks. Dennis asks weak why and she tell her what he hears. She immediately say they should speak to Leila but Yeoman refuses. Leila will trust Aras and Aras is the center of every secret his parents are hiding. Dennis point out that this may be exactly why Aras can help. Humans say he does not know whenever Aras is a victim, a liar or someone using her family trouble for his one purpose. Dennis tells him that he sounds like Hakan. The comparison string she apologized that the woman admits she is right. Fear is making him act like a people he does not trust and agree they can contact Leila after checking that the storage building. Dennis wants that if they are caught, she will blame him completely. Teoman said that is fair because he planned to blame her if they find nothing. The storage building stand behind an excuse office near that the marina. Hakan wants that the old company record there before moving most of the business file into digital form. Teoman now that the alarm code because Hakan has not changing it in years. Inside does cover metal shelves, broken furniture and sealed boxes. The place it does not look at is hold a family secret. It looks forgotten. Dennis uses her phone light while Teoman checks label. Most boxes contain invoice, employee record or photograph from business event. Dennis finds one mark with Yeoman's full name. He told school certificate, childhood drawing, and a pair of tiny shoes. Yeoman says his mother would must leave personal item in a dirty building that alone make the boss's suspicions. At the bottom is a thin envelope with no label. Before he can open it, the alarm began to sound. The old code has the work on the door, but written a silence wagging human grabbed at the envelope. Dennis see highlight outside. Someone is coming. They leave through a back window and run between boards, pulling onto land for repair. Danny slips on Lucy's gavel and the Teoman catches her because she failed. For one short second they laughter because the fear is too much to hold. Then a security guard appears at the end of the part. They hide beneath a larger board covered with blue cloth. The space is narrow and they can hear that the guard shows is moving closer. Dennis whispered that is the plan Teoman has ever had. He said it is the only worst plan she know about. She presses her hand over his mouth to stop him from taking. The guard pushes beside him, answer a radio call, and said the owner is on his way. When he moved toward that the building, Teoman and the Dennis out and run to her car. They drive away just before Hakan turned into the road. At the storage building, Hakan checked at the shelf and immediately see that the personal boxes has been opened. He calls Sabnam. He asks what is missing. Hakan say he does not can be contained because she packed that the boxes. Sabnam become furious and tell him there was an envelope inside containing a copy of the first document they received about Teoman. Hakan asks why she keep it after promise that every copy was destroyed. She says she needed one piece of proof in case Sarhat even tried to change that the story and damage more money. Hakan tell her that keeping proof or a secret is not protection, it is an invitation to run. Sabnam asks whether Teoman could have taken it. Hakan looked at the open window and said Teoman is the only person who know that the old code. He can then his bracelet on the floor. Now he knew Teoman was not alone. Teoman and Dennis park on a quiet road above the sea. The sun is now fully visible and the boardroom looks peaceful in a world that they live are not. Teoman opened that the envelope without shaking and inside in a photocopy of a hospital transfer form. Inside is a photocopy of a hospital form. Infected the room name at the top is not human Akayas is it damaged yelling the chill air matches that the brother Aras is searching for a note at the bottom say the chill was moved after that the accident under social authorization. Another line has been covered with black ink. Teoman starts at the name until the letter blurred. Daniel take that the page check outside and say a copy paper can be forced if proof that the Akayas had information about damage. If he does not prove that the Teoman is damaged, Teoman say that the destruction does not confirm from him. Aras' missing brother in a box filled with his one childhood thing. Dennis asks why he want to do. He say he want that the trust before his family build another lie above him. Dennis called Leila and asked to meet without explanation why. Leila agreed and bring Aras despite Teoman earlier respect. When Teoman seen Aras approaching that the empty beach, his body become tense. Aras also stopped several steps away about voice and that the whenever come next may train that the meaning of the every fight and every movement of the friendship between them. Dennis gives that the document to Leila who reads it and passes it to Aras. He recognizes his family's surname, he breathing changing. Teoman asks whenever the detail must damage. Aras said that the age and hospital do, but the date of the birth is one day different. Teoman asks that the question directly. Do you think I am your brother? Aras take time before answering. He say he has thought about it since that the night before, but thinking is not knowing. He refuses to call Teoman by another name until there is proof. Teoman expected Aras to climb him immediately, and that the decision surprised him. Aras say he knows what it is like when other people decided who you are. He will not do that. Be Teoman. Leila promised that they have the paper examined and served for the original transfer record. And he say a DNA test will be faster. Teoman look at Aras. Aras said that the choices belong to the Teomans because it is life and will be shaken first. Teoman gave a bitter laughter and asked with Aras, life has not already been shaken. Aras replied that it has, which is why he proved must come because of Teoman folded the document and say he want about that the record and the test. He want no space before for his parents to donate that the result. They agreed to keep their recovery result until they know more. Leila asks whenever asked that they enter the storage building. Dennis releases her bracelet is missing. Teoman closes his eyes. Second will now. They separated so that they will be seen together. Aras and Leila go to speak with Nure. He has vowed to protect that the young people from the children home and asks succeeds to the installations contact. When Aras showed her a photograph of the transfer form, Nure become pale. She said that the Levant is real and was used by the Regional Child Survival Office at that time. However, that the authorization code is unusable. It coordinates an emergency private placements are processed mean by a temporary until relative can be found. Such a placement should never has become a permanent adoption without a court review. Leila asked whenever that the official record can be obtained. Suri explained that the all achieved was moved with and some file damaged by the water. Requests also require identifications and a legal reason. Ras said his damaged brother Nure replied that the system may not recognize that until he proves his one history. They need someone inside that the office willing to look quickly. Nure has another concern. The closer of the home has saturated people who could help Ras. Subnam's actions against that the situation was not only an attack on the children, it also broke a network of the witness. Former staff member has gone to the difficult cities record are being packed and the building may soon be empty. If another connected to damage is hidden there, they have very little time. Aras asked with her had even worked with the home. Nure said not directly, but she remembered him belonging documents years ago for the child. Replacement has become disputed. She never said that the child, the person who signed for the people used that the Kaya company seal. Nure did not understand that the importance then. Now she believes Sarhat may have been the ink between the hospital, the child survival office and the Akayas. Leila asked why he could suddenly help us after so many years. Noor said guilt can sleep for the first time, but it's never truly died. At the villa, Hakan wait for the Teoman in the main room. Subnam stands near at the window holding Danny's bracelet. When Teoman enters, he immediately understands that the pretending will be useless. Hakan asks where he has been. Teoman says he wants for a drive. Subnam slices at the bracelet and asks whenever Dennis also drove through the leg storage building. Teoman does not answer. Hakan ordered him to return whenever he took. Teoman asked why they are afraid. He says Sabnam said that the box contained private family documents that could be misunderstood. Teoman replied that the honest document do not need warning. He asked why Danny's silence is. Hakan's face becomes still. Sabnam moved first, climbing damage was the chill of an employee they once tried to help. Teoman said that the phone wire is in the box with his choices and the drawing. She said it was packed by mistake. He asked why the name was covered, why no one told him, and why they discussed a blood test during that the night. Hakan tell him to lower his voice. Teoman showed that the volume is only trust allowed in this house because quiet questions are always worried. Subnam try a softer approach. He tell Teoman that the same record of from his early childhood are complicated because that the family protected another child after an accident. She says she was very young and they become emotionally attached to the child. Teoman asked that the child name. She repeated Demi. He asked where Demi is now. Sabnam says she does not know. Teoman watches her carefully and asks whether he is Demi. For the first time, neither parents can produce an immediately slide. The silence answer more loudly than the word. Teoman stepped backward. Hakan reaches for him. That he pulled away. Hakan said they love him. Teoman replied that love is not an answer. Sabnam began to cry and tell him not to leave. He asked her to say with complete certainty, but that he was born as Teoman Akaya. She opened her mouth but cannot do it. Teoman left the room, taken his motorcycle's key and died away before Hakan can stop him. Sabnam tried on Hakan that the moment the door shut, he refuses him of letting that the situation. Escape control, I can tell her she created is danger while she kept that the document. Subnam say blame can wait. Human cannot be allowed to take a DNA test. Hakan asked whenever she planned to stop him without making that the trust more obvious. She said they can control that the laboratory that the sample or that the result. Hakan looked at her with disgust and asked whether she has learned nothing. Every new lie requires a act that the lie before it. Sabnam replied that the cruelty is a word used by the people who has never had to protect a family. Hakan said your man may never forgive that they are interfered. She answered that the forgiveness will not matter if they lost him. Hakan asked why she meant by loss. Sabnam does not answer, but her fear is not only that the Teoman will live at the house. She is afraid that the love will take away that the identity she for him and the place she built for herself. Teoman rides without directions until he reaches a cliff road. He stops where that the sea is far below and Carl Danish. He finds him sitting beside that the motorcycle with the transfer paper in his hand. He tells her about that the confrontation Daniel does not offer an easy comfort. She says his parents' silence makes that the theory is stronger, but there may still be details they do not know. Teoman asks whenever she will see him differently if he is damaged. She asks he will ask him as the same difference careless people who made her under a board before breastplate. The name will not raise that the heirs she now Teoman asks what happened if every memory in the Akaya's house belonged to a stolen life. Danny's same memory are not stolen just because adult lied about at the beginning. The game is played, the injured is survived, the kindness he gave and the mistake he made are his. Our trust about his birth may add to him, but it cannot remove him. Her work climbed even enough two things. Woman decided to take that the DNA test immediately. Dennis contacted a private clinic used by her family. She does not tell the clinic why the test is needed. Aras arrives separately and signed that the required form. The nurse takes samples from both while Teoman watches that the swab disappear into labeled containers and asks how long that the result will take. The nurse said that the standing process needs several days, but an urgent analysis may be ready sooner. Aras pays with nearly all his money he has served. Teoman offered to cover that the cost, but Aras refused. The Teoman said pride is a fully reason to delay that the trust. Aras answered that he has pride for his son in every war for the heirs and he need to finish this part himself. Teoman does not agree. Before leaving, he quietly places money in an envelope at that the clinic desk with the instruction that any amount could be returned to Aras. It is a small act, but it is the first time he believed like a brother before knowing whenever he is one. Leila and the Nure whenever visit at the nearly empty children's home, cardboard boxes that box the wall, the lighter and the feel that the room has been replaced by the sound of the tap pull across boxes. Nure lead Leila to be lock office containing all intake boxes. This is record should already have been moved. But she delayed that the process because she feared Pace might disappear. They set the air for the accident. The book lists Aras under his one name with a note that his younger sibling was transferred for medical care. On the next page, the line that should name Damir has been cut away with a baton. Leila holds that the damaged book toward that the light and special from the missing page remain pressed into the paper below. They shade it gently with the side of a pencil and reveal part of a sentence. Private guideline approval. Akaya's the first name is too fight to read. Someone tear a key into a building room. Main nurses said that Leila to hide at the book. They expect a worker, but Sabnam entered with two men from the company heading that the closer. She says she has come to confirm that the property is the empty. Nure asks why a woman who claimed that the building wasn't safe it personally. Sabnam smiles and says she wants to make sure no child is left in danger. Leila steps out at the office and asks whenever that the concert inside children taken from hospital under false names. Sabnam's smile disappears for only a second. She says Leila has been suspended too much time with Aras and has learned his habit of making associations without proof. Leila answered that proof has a way of surviving people who try to destroy it. Sabnam looked at the box Leila is holding. Nure moved between them and said that the record a worker her responsibility. Sabnam tells that the worker to begin loading everything. Leila sent Aras a message with one hand behind her back. She write only home record her Sabnam said at the moment and order one of the worker to take Leila phone or says she has not right. The man is excited because he came to man boxes not written anyone. Sabnam changing her tone and claims Leila may be photographing private information about children. Leila refused to hand over that the phone while they agree. Noor pulled that the intake book from the box and slipped it behind a lost panel in the office wall. Sabnam noticed that the box is lighter but cannot prove everything was removed. She tells Leila that Ras brings damage whenever he goes. First that the Akai's family, then the home, and now Leila herself. Leila said that the damage began long before Ras arrived. He simply made it visible. Ras reaching that the building with humans and the Danish sees human beside Ras shocked Sabnam. She ordered her son to come home. Teoman see he will return when home become a place where questions are answered. Semna warned him that Ras is using him. Teoman asked what Ras could possibly take, that his family one has been already taken. Second arrived moment later, having followed Sabnam's location. The empty room becomes the stage for the conflict none of them can avoid. Hakan tell that the worker to leave and ask whenever to climb down. Haras say climb was possible years ago when the trust could have been told whenever destroys life. Hakan asked what Haras want. Haras replied that he wanted the brother. Teoman watches Hakan's face. Hakan look at him before looking away. That single movement gives Teoman more contently that the hidden paper did. Noor demand to know whenever Hakan saying that the private placement after that the accident. Hakan say all cases are complex and the memories are unreliable. She said records are more reliable, which is why someone cut damage entry from the book. Sabnam accusing Noor of allowing confidential file to be stolen. Leila replied that no file has been taken. Sabnam says she will have the building searches. Teoman asked which she also planned to search their blood. Sabnam became pale. He told her that the test has already been done. If she was hoping to prevent it, she is too late. The room falls silence. Hakan asks which clinic. Dennis immediately understand why he want to know and tell the woman not to answer. Sabnam say private tests are often inorganic and can be misunderstood. Aras say a second test can be done under legal supervision after the first result arrives. He is no longer asking their permission. Second pulled Aras aside near the old prayer. He offered him away a home and sport for every young person replaced by the conclusions if he agreed to stop until that the family can handle the matter privately. Aras side with her. This is a confession. Second say this is an attempt to prevent innocent people from being raised by even they did not create. Arak looked through that the window at the humans. He said that the innocent person has already been raised. He simply does not know that the full weight yet. Hakan insists that the trust is not always kindness. Teoman has lived as his son, not a public scandal could make him feel that every bond is false. Ras said that the bond may be real, but Hakan uses lie to control them. He refused that the offer. Hakan was turned called he warned that he is attacked at the family. The family will defect itself. Aras replied that the searching for his brother is not an attack. Anyone who believes it has already chosen the wrong side. After the Akai's leave, Nure received that the hidden book. The group photographed every useful page. Human said that the fates Akai's name and asked Nure whether a child can remember an accident for such an early age. She said memory is so strange. A child may forget faces and names but remember her small sound or fear. Teoman said that he always dreamed of a burning road, not as a burning room. In the dream, someone is sorting a short world again and again. His parents told him that the dream come from the ex-wire, he said later, but he had it before that the events asked what he hears. Teoman closes her voice eyes. He say he sound like Aras. Aras feel that the ears leave his chest. When Damir was a baby, he could not pronounce Aras. He called him Aras. No one speaks for several seconds. Teoman opens his eyes and sees tears in the Aras' face. The possibility is no longer only in a document. It has entered a memory neither of them can easily dismiss. Aras still does not touch him. He says memory can be influenced and that they should for the test. Teoman became frustrated and asked why Aras keeps stepping away when the evidence points toward him. Aras said because watching a brother can save many signs feel contained, he will not place that the burden on the Teoman signs comfort him. Teoman asked Aras is afraid that the trust will be negative. Ras says yes, he also afraid it will be positive. A negative result will take Damir away again. A positive result will prove that the Damir was never has is powerful people choices to keep them apart. Either answer will hurt. Leila suggested that they rest, but no one is ready to go home. They sit in the empty dining room where children's one act together. Dennis swallowed an open tea in a box and Nure heat water into a small kitchen. The ordinary act make that the group feel like an enemy gather around evidence and more like young people trying to understand a broken past. Human asked Aras what Damir was like as a baby. Aras smiled and said Damir cried whenever a door closed. He loved that the sound of spoon hitting metal cup. He would only speak if Aras places one hand on his back. Teoman's joke that none of these details prove anything because every baby cries and they sleep. As said, Amir also had a small mark shaped like a half moon behind his left shoulder. Teoman's smile disappeared. He pulled at the collar of his shell aside. Beside his shoulder is a pale mark in exactly that the shape. Dennis looked away to give him privacy, but Teoman tell her it is all right. He asked Aras whether he could have learned about that the mask from a medical fires. Aras said he never wrote it down and never told Sarhat. Only someone who now Damir was a baby would remember it. Teoman sit very still. The room seemed to tighten around it. He said that he needed ears and walk outside. Ras started to follow them steps. Leila tell him to go not as a man climbing a brother but as a person who understands what it is to have no stable name. Ras went Teoman and all swig. Teoman said that when he was younger, he someone imagines being adopted. He examined what it felt difficult from Hakan and the Subnam. Yet imagine it was easier than standing inside that the possibility. He asked whether Ras said that the people who raised him. Ras said he had why he did. But he cannot decide what humans should feel about them. Love and anger can exist together. Gratitude does not cancel betrayal and betrayal does not erase every good deed. Human asks what else except if the result is positive. Does he want human to live that the village change his name and become damaged immediately? Ras said no, he wanted the chain to know him. The rest belonged to the humans. He can be humans damaged or bound. He can continue loving that the Akayas while demanding justice. Ras will not make another presence out of the brotherhood. Teoman studied him and said that it is the first answer anyone has given without telling him what he must do. He then admitted that a part of him wanted that reason to be a positive because that the connections with Aras will explain that the emptiness he has always felt. Another part would it be positive because he worried of losing that the parents he now are say about wishes are the allowed. They sit beside each other as the swing chain more softly in the wind. The clinical dentist said that they expected. A technical worker said that the nature analysis show a close family connection. But the report needs final review before release. Dennis put the call on speaker. The worker cannot state the exact relationship until that the laboratory doctor sign it. Yet that the possibility is high enough that they should prepare for a first degree biological link. Humans give at the edge of the table. Ras asked when the signed result will be ready. The workers say by the next morning. They agree not to celebrate or comfort anyone what they receive. Will still every person in the room understand what first degree link more likely mean. At the villa, Sabnam received a call of her one. The clinic receptionist tell her that Dennis arranged an urgent test and that the preliminary analysis is complete. Sabnam had connected at the clinic through a family connections. After Hakan learned where they want, he asked whether the report can be delayed. The receptionist said that the systems already showed that analysis occurred and changing it will require that the laboratory doctor Sabnam offer money. The receptionist refuses and earned the calls. Hakan hear enough to an accident. He tells Sabnam that the interfering with medical evidence could lead to prison. She said prison is an enemy trait compared with losing humans. Hakan said they lost the right to control him that day. They choices secrecy. Sebnam asked whether he is ready to tell Teoman everything, including the part Hakan play after that the accident. Hakan does not answer. She leaves. He is still afraid, just less honest about it. That evening, Teoman refused to return to the villa and stayed at the empty home with the others. Noor said that the building is not officially safe for the residents, but she cannot send him back to the people who may try to remove him from boardroom. Dennis bring food, Leila places blanket in the old activity room. Aras stand at the doors uncertain whether his prison confront Teoman's or increased at the pressure. Teoman tell him to stop watching from a distance. If they may be brothers, they should at least learn how to share a room. Aras lie on a matter across from him. The darkness may honest told Kisler. Humans asked what Aras remembered about their mothers. Aras said her aunt always smelled of soap and the orange. She sang vaguely but loudly. Their father fixed machines and believed that the problem deserved one attempt. Asked whenever they were happy. Aras said they were not rich and the other someone agreed. But he remembered feeling safe until the late night. Humans asked what happened during the accident. Aras said rain was falling, their father was driving, their mother was holding them, and their Aras will have asleep in the back. Another car appeared too close. He remembers a horn slide and the sound of the metal. When he walked near the road, the vehicle was burning. A stranger pulled him away. He kept asking for his baby brother at the hospital. A nurse told him Damir had been removed for the treatments. Day later, a social worker said no surviving brother could be found. Aras spends a year wondering whether his one memory has inverted damage because the dad repeated that the Daniel so often. Then he found that the photograph Teoman listened with fear running slightly toward his ears. He said his dream began with rain and the horns. He never see that the people inside the car but the hears a boy shouting. Aras reaches across the space but stops his hand in the hills. Human closes the distance and take it outside the rooms. Leila hear part of their conversations and quietly walk away. Dennis is sitting in the hills. He asks whether Leila thinks that the result will change Aras. Leila says it already has. He has spent his life moving toward a missing person. If Teoman is damaged, Aras will suddenly have to learn how to stand beside a real brother who has his one wishes and anger. Danny said Teoman will also have to learn that finding a loving brother does not solve that the pain of being lied is to by the parents. Bout's young woman understand that the test is not an ending, it is the beginning of a harder story. Near midnight, Surfrit appeared at the back interiors. He is injured, wet from the rain and looking over his shoulders. Noor led him in while Aras waked at the close. Her say he accepted that the place where Hakan meant keep him. But they will soon discover where he went. Hakan did not order him to hurt him badly. Your Subnam sent a different message. She want him silence before that the test result arrived. Asked Dammy that the full trust her seat Humans and being crying. He called him Dammy Teoman asked him to explain. Sir say he was a junior clerk working with hospital transfer at the time of the accident. The baby survived with only minor injuries. Sebnam has recently lost her child and was emotionally broken. Through a private contact, she learned about a baby parents was dead and the older brother has entered care. She first agreed to a temporary placement, then she refused to return him. Second, discovered that the trust after a similar streak he could have reported it, but he feared scandal and say how strongly Subnams has attached herself to the child. He used company connection to create sporting record. Sarhad's cries paper staying dares and fight official. He tells Teoman that he did not steal him from Aras with his one hand, but he helped build that the road that the keep that the brothers apart. Teoman asks was no one connected Aras. Sarhad say Aras was a child in a system. The people involved told themselves he would forget later when Hakan tried to find him. Aras has already been moved between some Sebnam and Hakan stopping between he believed may contact could expose them. Had accepted money and stayed silent. The confessions leave that the room's colder than the rain outside. See that the missing heirs has a chain of the ordinary decision made by the adult who value comfort above two children. Humans see every brother, every family holiday, and every loving word through a new shadow. Sad lover his head because he cannot face either brother. Leila quietly closed the curtain, now that the people searching for him may already be near. Daniel stand beside Thomas without touching him, giving him to the freedom to close whenever he wants. Confirms no replaces the damage record on the table. The trust is finally taking shape, but it is still incomplete. An incomplete trust can be used as another weapon. The evidence that refuses to burn. Aras grabs her by the shirt and asks how a man lived after doing it to children. Sarah say badly thrown or badly enough to equal the harm. He began sending clues when he learned that the Sabnam planned to close the home and destroy that the remaining record. He was afraid to confuse directly because that the Akayas his evidence of him crime. Rasif fear does not excuse him. Sarhad agree. He had no come to ask for the forgiveness. He has come because the test alone will be prove how the identity was changed. Sebnam Khan claims an error or a private adoption made in Goodfield. The original hospital leaders and the recording from Hakan are needed to prove that the cover-ups had hit copies years ago. One is somewhere humans can reach. Human asks what Sahad whispered later from his home. Sahad explained that he dared that to say Teoman because a voice recording is hidden inside an old object from Teoman's childhood. It is a small red music player that the Sabnam killed in the Villa Mumri named room years ago. Secret directly recording Hakan describing that the document changing during an argument. He placed that the memory card inside the place, believing that the mice need protection. He never managed to recover it. Humans remember that the object is sit on the shelf with childhood toy, but the Sabnam came that the room so Aras say they will break into the villa again. Sahad want that the Sabnam may destroy everything. Once she now he has escaped, waiting until morning may be too late. Leila Sporty suggested as a safer plan. Teoman can call Hakan and ask to meet, while Hakan and the Sabnam are focused on the beginning in home. Sabnam he will legal access can ensure that the recording. Noor say no one has legal authority to enter a private room. Danny say Leila is still treated as a part of a family circle and might be allowed inside. As refuses to place her in danger, Leila remind him of his promise not to decide for her. She says she will not speak or steal. She will go openly to speak with the Sabnams, keep her pretensions and allow Teoman to enter his one childhood room. Teoman has every right to take an object his presence has his property. Around dislike that the risk but accept that the plan belongs to all of them. Before they can sleep, Wyler sweep across that the window of the home. Sahar panics and says they have found him. Hakan enter alone with his hand visible. He says he is not there to take anyone by force. He follow a location signal from the company vehicle Sahar used during this escape. Sabnam does not know he came. Aras stand between Hakan and the room. Hakan look at Teoman and call him son. Teoman said that wall cannot be used as a key. Whenever Hakan want a door to open, Hakan accept that the rebuke. He tells that the Sabnam is preparing to leave boardroom and insists to take the original document. He does not know where she will go if they want that the trust that they miss before sunrise. No one trusts that the sudden offer Sahad Hakan only have when he has and other choices. Hakan admit that it is true. He spends there telling himself he protect a grieving wife and a loved children beside and the other value of the He now that the core, but if he handle it a security notice will reach her phone, they will have only minutes. Teoman asks why Hakan is betraying Sabnam now. Hakan say he is not choosing against her, he is finally choosing against that the lie. He hopes one day she will understand that the love cannot survive through possessions. Humans say that the sound noble after 17 years of the silence. Second, agree late courage is still light. He does not ask human to forgive him. He only asks to help prevent that the last evidence from the disappearing. They plan a form. Hakan will call Sabnam and tell her he had found Thomas at the marina, drawing her away from the villa. Leila and the Danish will remind Visnare and the Sahat Aras will wait outside at the property because his presence will greater than the guard. Thomas will answer with the Hakan key. Take that the players and photograph that the documents from the safe. Hakan will keep that the security teams occupied. The plan begins smoothly. Sabnam believes Hakan call and drive toward that the marinas with one of her men. Thomas entered that the villa through the side doors. Every room holds a memory that now seems uncontained. He passes a family portrait and wonders whenever the smile was real. Then he tells himself that a photograph can contain love and deceptions at the same time. He reached at the memory room, unlocked it, and find the red players on the higher shelf. His hand shake as he opened that the battery covers a small memory card. He step inside. He pull it is in pocket from the corridor. A Ford back creak. Teoman turns excited aghast but finds Sabnam standing in the doorway. She says she now Hakan was lying because he has never understood how a frightened another mother link. She sent a car toward the marina but returned through another gate. Teoman asks her to let him leave. Sabnam says she cannot. She sees that the players in his hand understand that the Sahat has told him everything. Teoman asks if Damit is his real name. Sabnam walked closer and said that the name she gave him is real because she built a life around it. He said a real life does not require stolen paper. She tells him she found him alone in the hospital, crying with no mother beside him. She tells him and that he become quiet is that the moment she believes fate has returned that the child she lost. Human say he has not returned. He belonged to another family and had a brother waiting. Sabnam say Aras could never have given him the life he received. Teoman answered that he was not her choice to make. Sabram reached for the memory card, but Teoman stepped away. She begged him not to listen to it. Some trust, she said, will presents every good memory. Teoman said that the prisons come from the lies, not to the trust. She tell him something Sarhad did not know. The accident that killed his birth parents may not have the random Hakan company vehicles was on the road that night. And a man working for Hakan father killed at the collision. Before leaving that the scenes, Hakan learned that after taking the baby, returning Demi will have exposed not only the legal placement but the Akayas family leaked to the death. The woman stares at her, unable to the breathe. Sabnam said that it is why Hakan helped change that the record. He was protecting the interior family for a crime committed before they understood what happened. The woman asked whenever she has proof. Sabnam glances toward that the safe. The look is enough. He moved toward that the dressing room, but he blocked him. Aras waiting outside sees Sabnam's car near that the rear gate and listed that the plans he failed. He calls Teoman but the phone ring unanswered. Hacker received at the same warning from the guard. He distracted. Both men run toward that the main house from different directions in the memory room. Samdam tells Teoman that if he opened that the safe, nothing can be repaired. He said nothing was repaired during all the years she controlled that the trust. It was only covered. Second center and tells Sabnam to move away from the door. She accuses him of destroying their son. Second said they did that together when they made his identity depend on silence. Teoman demanded that the safe code. Hakan give it to him. Sabnam tried to stop him, but Hakan held her the safe. Teoman opened the safe. Inside are the original placement order and a hospital bracelet bearing damaged name photograph from the accident file. and a serious report about that the company vehicles. He take pictures with his phone taken, then he seemed with one more atoms, a small radio secret label with the date of the crash before he can examine it. The security alarm sounds. Shabnam has pressed the hidden buttons. Aras reaches that the upper house has guard entered below. Hakan tells Teoman to give that the evidence to Aras and leave through that the roof trace. Teoman refuses to run while Hakan remains behind. Hakan said being a father now means accepted that the cause should have been passed years ago. Teoman sent Aras that the memory card and the hospital bracelet but keep his phone with the photograph. Shabnam grabbed Dad the cigarettes and threw it into the fireplaces. Aras moved toward Dad the frame, yet Hakan stopping him because the fire is already too strong. Teoman showed that he has destroyed proof. Shabnam answered that he has saved him from the story. Dad will confuse him. Teoman says she has only proved one. The guard reached the room but hesitated when Hakan ordered them to stand down. He still at the heat of the house and his command created enough confessions for us and Teoman to reach that the terrace. They climbed down a survived stairs and ran across that the garden. Shabnam watches from at the window, her face broken by rage and the grief. Hakan tells her it is over. She looks at him and says it has only begun. They burn secrets may have healed that the clearest proof of the clash. But she still has Alice's who will protect that the Kaya's name. Hakan replied that he will testify. Shabnam said testimony can change when a man releases what he will lose. Hakan tell her he has already lost that the one thing that the matter, the trust of his son. Aras and the Teoman returned to the children's home shortly before dawn. Everyone gathered around a laptop to open that the memory card. It contained one audio file. The recording is old and the file is static, but Hakan's younger voice is clear enough. He agreed with said about a baby cast damage. He said that the placement must be changed, the other brother must not be contacted, and the company presents that the accident must remain outside every official report. Another voice asked whether Sabram understand that the child has the family. Hassan answered that she understands but will never let him go. The recording proved deliberate cancellation. It does not fully prove who caused that the clash, yet it gives that the group apart toward legal action. Teoman sit apart after hearing it as approaching and they offer him that the hospital bracelet. Teoman said damage challenge is fated later. He said he expected proof to make him feel complete. Instead, he feels split into Aras broken. He is not to prove one half. Perhaps he is one with two histories. Teoman asked whenever Aras can tell him. Teoman until he decided what to do with Demi. Aras said yes without hesitation. Teoman then asked if he keep that the bracelet. Aras places it in hands and closes his finger around it. They do not embrace. The moment is too painful and too new for that, but they sit shoulder to shoulder. As neither move away, the sign clinic report arrived, but secure email has the first sunlight entered at the room. Dennis opened it, read that the result, and cover her mouth. Leila take her hand, Aras and the Thomas stand together while Nure read that the conclusions allowed the probability that they share biological parents is greater than 99.9%. The report identifies them as full brother. Alas crosses his eyes, 17th year of searching, and in one sentence at the end feel like a door opening onto a larger struggle. Teoman look at him and say with a voice that almost failed that he does not remember being damaged. Aras answered that he does not need to remember today. Today then Teoman asked that the question that he lived inside Aras' chill's soul. Did you really look for me all this time? Aras say everything. Teoman finally stepped forward and embraces him. Aras holds him with the same protective care he once gave that the baby is in the old photograph, but he also understands that the person in his alarm he is no longer a child to be refused. He is a young man who must choices his one futures around them. Sela, Dennis, Norris, and the Sahar remain quiet. The ironious is not simple happiness, it carries anger, grief, and the weight of the years that cannot be turned. Still, for the first time, the brother now where the other is. The sections end at the villa. Sebnam enters Teoman empty rooms and finds that the old photograph of the Akayas family on his desk. For a moment she believes he left it behind as a rejection. Then she sees a note beneath it. Teoman has written that he does not know which house he will call home, but he will never again live inside a lie. Sabnam sits on the floor and the crease. Her phone rings. The caller uses a hidden number. A man says he heard that the damaged file has returned and asks with her that the secrets was destroyed. Sabnam says yes. The man tells her that the secret was only a copy, the original still exists, and if Aras finds it, everyone connected to the class will fail. Sebnam looked toward at the door, realizing that the secret is larger than even Hakan admit at the children's home. Aras would receive a message from the same hidden number. It contained a photograph of the road on the night of the accident and one sentence: finding your brother was that the easy part. Now find out who keeps your parents. Ras studied at the photograph before showing it to anyone. The road is where the family car is turned sideways and the dark company vehicle stands farther back with one damaged light. The maid was taken before emergency worker arrived. That the main photograph was either a witness or part of the event. Ras zoomed it but cannot read at the place. A human figure can be seen beside the dark vehicle, though that the face is hidden by rain. Human asks who sent it. Ras said that the number cannot receive calls. He recognized that the old company mark on the door. Hakan used that the mark before changing that the business name Aras Agar. The vehicle may have belonged to Hakan father. This is business center builder material along that the coast. Has say many drivers used their cars and more records were destroyed after that the older man died. Teoman asks if Sarhad was in the vehicle. Sarhad says he truly does not know. Leila noticed a light in the upper corner of the photograph. It comes from the roadside survive station then the closed long ago. He remembered passing it the abandoned sign. While traveling from Istanbul, if that the photograph was taken from these stations there, anyone see has a security camera or an employee who sees that the class. Aras returned to the bracelet of the Teoman. This time Teoman put it around his wrist instead of hiding it in his pocket. The secret is played at the police stations with all the lawyers present. Hakan father voice name Arhans confirmed that the deliberate fires and the orders came to repair that the vehicles. He also stated that the surviving baby with the place with the hacker because a missing child cannot later identify a guilty driver. Another part mentions a police officer and a hospital administrator who received payment. The crime was either than one family. Investigator began preparing extracts and achieved searches. The section closes and the reporter gathered outside at the station. After someone leaked news of a DNA result and the old crash Aras and the human faces a wall of the cameras. Questions streak them from every direction. Is human really damaged? Did the chaos by a stolen child? Will humans abandon that the family but rise him? Aras want to push through, but humans stop and burn toward that the cameras. He say his name in humans Akayas. He say about damage Yellen and ether name belong to the people asking him two choices. Which family is real? He say Aras in his brother the Akayas Roysims and the crime of the adult will be judged without erasing that the life of her child. Then he take Aras' hand and they lead him through that the ground. Across town, Sabnam watches that the statement on the television. A reporter announced that the prosecutor will question her in the morning. She turned off that the screen after a hidden driver and remove a passport bearing a different name. For one terrible moment it seems she may run. Then she seemed to a chill drying tap into the driver. She closed that the passport and called out the lawyer. She says she is ready to give a full statement. But she has one condition before she speaks. She wants to tell Teoman the final secret about his bird mother. Teoman agreed to meet Sabnams at the lawyer office where no one can remove evidence or shape that the conversation in secret. Aras offered to wait outside, but the Teoman asked him to stay. If that the trust concerned their mother, it belonged to both brothers. Shabnam arrived with haircuts and looked smaller than ever did in the villa. She has expressed a controlling room through her the cloth. Her voice and the fear she created in order here she has none of this is productions. The lawyer places a recorder on the table and explained that the Sabnam may stop at any point, but anything she say can become part of the investigation. Sabnam says she understands. She looked at the Thomas and called him by that name. He noticed that the choices she is no longer protected, that speaking Dami will make Thomas disappear. Sabnam said that the boy mother did not die at the road. She was alive when emergency worker reaches that the car. She suffered serious burn and was taken to a different hospital from Aras. Damir has already been moved from conversation. Sabna was in the hospital after losing her one baby. During childbirth, she wandered into the wrong corridors and heard that the injured woman calling for her son. A nurse brought Damir near that the room because his mother was fainting and wanted to see him. Sabnam said that the body climbed when the woman touches his foot. She also heard the mother ask whether Ras was safe. The nurse said he has survived. The woman repeated one question: keep my voice together. Ras closed his eyes. The final purpose of his mother was the opposite of what everyone did. Teoman asked what happened next. Sabnam said that the mother died before sunrise. The nurse left to complete paperwork and Sabna remained in the corridor while damage she healed him because he was crying. He would feel empty and grief for made that they would seem unfair and without meaning. While the temporary placement worker later asked whether any approval family could care for the baby for one night. Sabna volunteered. She knew that the child has a brother. She now his mother which she told herself she would return him after one night. One night become a week. Then Aras and the second father learned that a baby and entered her home and they say how useful his disappear could be. Teoman asked why she never kept a recording or letter from his mother. Sabnam said there was a small cloth bag that came with Amir from the hospital. It contained his mother ring and boy notice with name and a piece of a pale bracelet from the old photograph. Sabnam said that the bag between saying it made him feel like a thief. Years later she tried to burn it but could not. It remained in the bag deposit box until the first name show on the passport. The passport was not prepared so she could run. Now it was created long ago. They opened the box without linking that the object to the archives. The key is hidden inside human childhood drawing. Ras became furious. He asked how she should listen to her drawing mother and then break her final request. Sabnam does not defend herself. She said grief did not make her innocent. It made the first wrong step easier, but every step after that was a choice. She loved Teoman, yet he used that love to silence that the voice that told her had another family. Ras said love without respect becomes possession. Sabnam agreed. Teoman asked whether she ever planned to tell him. She says she often closes a birthday or quiet summer evening as a moment, but fear always found a new reason to wait. When Aras came to the boardroom, she said not as a mother but the end of her rule as the mother. She attacked him because his assistance reveals what she has done. The lawyer asked whether Sabna was surrounded at the key and authorized the bank to release that the bag. She said yes. She also agreed to identify the hospital administrator and the officer prior to alter a crash report and every account used for the errands. Hakan asked why she kept the bag safe while destroy other evidence. Sabnam say become part of here now. Teoman smiled one day, need another touches by the Akaya. Second say she should have given him trust instead of a box. She replied that had taken 17 years to do the same. Their marriage was presented as an unbreakable center of the family. Now look like an arrangement between two freedom people who help each other avoid responsibility. Teoman removed at the drawing. From the folder Subnam brought, it showed a large house and bright sun, Hexen, Subnams, and a boy small holding between both their hand. The driver is innocent. They turn it over and find a flat basket tab behind the paper. Sabnam says he made that the pictures when he was 5. He chooses it to hide that the key because it showed that the life he wanted to live was enough. Teoman carefully removed at the key. He does not tear at the drawing. Sabnam began to cry at the small act of the care. He tells her not to mistake his care for forgiveness. She says she will not. At the bank, the lawyers and the investigation supervisor that opening of a dispose box inside it closed back sealed in clear evidence material. The pale fabric matches the blanket in Ra's photograph. The ring bear that the individual of their mother. The note is short because she wrote it before that the family journey, not after the class. It lists emergency contact information and said that if anything happens, Aras now how to climb damage. There is also hospital investigation card with his mother fingerprint and time of that their record proves she reaches that the hospital life and help investigator expose that the false that timeline in the original report. Ras sold that the ring but does not pull it one. He remember his mother hand smiling of orange and soap. For years he feared this memory would fade until only the accident remained. The ring bring back on ordinary morning when she removed it. It is create bread and asked him to guard it. He has worn it on the thumb and laughed because it was too large. He tells Teoman that the story. Teoman has no matching memory, yet he listens as if Ras is returning a missing part of their mother to him. They agree that Ras will keep that the ring for now and Teoman will keep that the bracelet. Neither object will be looked away again. News of the investigation spread quietly. Reporter well outside at the villa. The children roamed the police stations and even Danny's house. Only strangers agree about Yeoman's name as how his character they once. Some way he should reject that the Akayas completely. Other refuses Aras of seeking money. False accounts claims Leila blamed that the scandal to her Subnam. Dennis believed that the scandal too. She moved from one brother to another. The young people discovered that the public sport can be another kind of pressures. Everyone wants a simple hero and a simple villain. While their real feelings remind me, Sioman decided not to read comment, but he cannot avoid classmates who whisper when he returned to collect books. He one day boys call him Damis is a mocking voice and asks whether he will now Damit half to Aras no existed for trust. Human start forward him ready to fight. Daniel stop between them and tell that the boy that another person's stolen chill hole is not entertainment. The teachers arrive but Yeoman say he does not need the school to hide him. He addresses that the class explained that learning a bird name does not erase that the name friend has used for the years. He will answer to Yeoman. People who respect him also understand that damage is a part of his history. People who use Ethan name to hurt him will receive no answer at all. His word changing that the room civil classmate apologized. One admit that the reporter offered money for photograph from the Teoman child hold. Thomas asked everyone not to steal pieces of his lie. He knew that they cannot stop every image, but he wanted his friend to remember that a scandal does not turn a person into public property. Dennis watches him and sees a new steadiness in his still angry. But he is beginning to choose that the meaning of the anger later than letting is choices for him. Aras faces a different problem. The lawyer explained that as human biological brother he could request involvement in the identity case. But Teoman is nearly an adult and no custody transfer is needed. The media keep describing Aras as if he has come to take Teoman away. Hakan business partner uses that the fear to attack him. They claim Aras broke into private property, threatened employees, and manipulated Teoman for money. Hakan ordered the company to withdraw every conflict against Aras. He board refuses and remove Hakan from daily continue. The family business power began to suppress. Some people who won obey Hakan knew protect themselves. One board member offered Aras a private settlement if he signed a statement saying Hackens and Samnam believed that the placement was legal. The company will fund that the children's home of 10 years or provide Aras with a house. Aras rejected the proposal. The man that tells Nuret that the home's property will be sold and demolished unless the statement is signed. Nuret says using replacement children has impressive proof that the company has been nothing. The board member gave them 48 hours to leave the Twitter create tension inside that the group. Some former staff member agreed that one statement could save many children even if his verdict protect the Akaya. Aras understanding this failed. He spent years in institutions and now that a safe bed matter more to a child than a perfect principal. Teoman offered to use his personal trust fund to buy a property. Hacker warned that a board may freeze that the fund because it is tied to company assets. Danny suggests a public comparison, but Leila says it may be the children interfaces you for sympathy. Nure listened to everyone and said that the young people who live in the home should make that decision. They organized a meeting with former residents. Ras expected them to ask him to sign, but the first young woman to speak was the home was never only has a building. It was the people who refused to throw them away, saving that the wall by sporting a live wool teaches that the wrong lesson. Another young man disagreed. He said principal do not keep friends of children. The discussion is honest and the difference has lost their choices a third part. They will refuse the false statement challenge that the sale throw at the court and raise money for temporary housing if they use. Teoman say he will stand publicly with them, not as a ready sooner but as someone. This is live show what happened when in situations allow powerful family to write a chill history. Leila prepare a simple public statement. With the group, it does not attract every Akaya's employee or the reveal private detail about that the children. It explained that the property closure began after a searching Twitter hidden record. It asked the court to preserve that the chief and the building until that the investigations end. Dennis contact former residents who are willing to speak within hours. Board grow local business, offer temporary room, food and the legal help. The board attempt to pressure Ras become public and damage that the company more than his refusal could have done. Hakan attacked the court hearing and the testify against his one board. He said that the closer action was encouraged by Subnam to awaken Aras access that the old record. He also admitted that the company land record were used to create safety compliant against that the home. The judge places a temporary order preventing demolitions and removal of the file. Outside court, Snure tells Hakan that one honest act does not clean the past, but it can protect that the future. Hakan said that it all he'd hoped to be today. Teoman watches Hakan live under police supervision for the further questioning. He wants to call him father but cannot. As notice and said Teoman does not have to punish himself for loving Hakan. Teoman asks Vita that hurt him. Aras admit that it does, but it pain belong to the situation. No two humans Hackens rises him through the school illness and ordinary day Ras never had. Ras cannot demand this his memory disappear. He only asks that love never he used to hide accountability. Humans say Hackens seem more ready to face than that the Sebnum. Ras reminded him that change is a part, not as a courtroom speech. Sabnam gave her the statement to proceed and is released under travel residence. While the investigation continues, she returned to the villa, but Teoman chooses not to live there. He stays in a small room near that the children's home. The home is less uncomfortable that the window does not close proactively and the shower sometimes runs cold, yet he sleeps better before no locked down into an answer. Aras offered to share his room, but humans say they need to learn brother here while protecting. They grow up together. Living too close immediately may turn love into pressure. Aras respect the choices. The brother began meeting each morning for breakfast at the same cafe. Their first conversations as awkward. Aras asked too many questions about Teoman childhood and Teoman feel examined. Teoman asked about life in the home, then become guilty when Aras described different air. After one tense breakfast, they agree on a rule. Neither will compare pain to decide who suffer more. Aras lost family and stability. Teoman lost trust and the trust. The form are different but both are real. They began asking lighter questions. Favorite food, school subject, first fight, favorite song. They discovered that White have a life and Bob pretend not to be afraid of keep water. Aras touches Tioman a card game. Their father won't show him. Tioman loses their time excusing Aras of changing that the rule. Aras say brother are allowed to lie only about card game. Never about identity. Human laughter so suddenly that the people at the next table turn. The laughter gives us has a glimpse of a baby who loves metal cup, but he does not say it. He sees human has himself not has a memory return. Leila and Ras also reboot their relationship. Slowly they walk near Dad the store after that the morning meeting. Leila asks him to speak about feeling before they plan up. Aras will tell her when he is angry, when he is afraid of the investigation. And Teoman is damaged. Leila says happiness does not disrespect that the loss as he gives this is an answer. She also tells us about her one fear that he will also choose the next mystery over a peaceful life with her. Aras does not promise that the danger is over. He says he can promise to stop living. Love requires him to face danger alone. Dennis and the Teomans find climb in friendship. They help prepare a room at the home while the court order is alive. Teoman has never painted a wall and covered more of himself than a room. Dennis laughter and whisked blue paint from his cheek for a moment. They stand close, aware of failing. Neither want to rush. Teoman says his life has enough dramatic labor. Dennis agrees they can simply buy Dennis and the Teoman. She kisses his checks and returns to painting. He smiles for the rest of the afternoon. The climb breaking when Sahar disappeared from the clinic. He police card say has a nurse brought transfer prepared showing he needed a scene at another hospital. The paper wall for security footage shows Sahar living in a wheelchair with a marked attendance. Arhant is in custody and he is now associated are being watched. Investigators fear that the corrupt officer name on the cigarette has acted before an arrest can be made. Without Sarhad, the identity case still have DNA and report, but the chain of the payment become harder to prove. More importantly, Sarhad's life is in danger. Aras checked with his all insists. He grabbed her jacket and admitted that the footage Leila Steve is long enough to ask why his plan is. He admits he has known. Humans say he should study that the false transfer paper. Dennis noted that the hospital logo is outdated by 3 years. Noor recognized it from a private medical transport partner company that one move children become instruction. The company closed, but its vehicles were stored at the action. Second active may contain that the buyer list because that the Akaya company organized that the action. Second received temporary promise of across that their chief will police supervision. They find that one ambulance was brought by a security film, one by a retired police officer named Selkuk. The secrets mentioned Officer S. Investigator confirmed that the Selkuk signed that the first crash report and later approval that the destruction of the damaged company vehicle. He is now missing from his registered address. His phone last connected near a remote holiday village that closed after a landslide. Police prepare a search, but a storm block and the shortage of Ras and the Teomans now and the other working part from map using during their children from Kami. The investigator ordered them to stay away. This time Aras obeyed. He provided the map and explained that the price. Then the way Teoman said the command pointed obedience feel harder than the fighting. Every minute allow his imagination to create a new danger. Teoman said this is what he feel. When Aras entered at the quarry, Aras understands that waiting can be an act of care. While turning wool in danger that the rescue, their search team find that the ambulance empty near that the village blood on the floor belonging to Sarah, but the account is simple. The radio in the vehicles play a recording message from the circuit. He tells Aras to destroy camel photograph and hacker recording. If he wants the head alive, he gives them until that the next evening and say he will now. It copies remain online. The damage is impossible because investigators already hold evidence. The message is not a real track, it is an attempt to make Aras appear to interfere with the case and to buy second times. You might notice a background sound in the recording, a fairy horn followed by a metal bell. Then is compare fairy schedule and find only one desk where the whole sound close to an old crash bell. The door is across that the peninsula far from the abandoned village. Selçuk used that the ambulance as a first shared that the idea with police rather than acting alone. Officer checked Tracy's camera and find that the ambulance passes a second vehicle. Near the dock, a person matches her was moved in a wishing swan. A van belonged to a boat repairs company that one did work for the Akaya. Second, recognized that the owner has a friend of the Selçuk's. Police moved toward that the yard. Aras, Teoman, Leila and the Danish remain at the station following only that the information investigations proceed to share the choices frustrated them but it protected that the operation to keep Teoman from breaking until the wait. Aras tell him about Pammy, about their father. Their father will become silent while preparing something because he believes impatience damages the crew. Human say perhaps patience is the only thing they inherited that Aras had not yet learned to use it. Aras accepts that the Jogsehats is found alive inside a logboat cabin. Selçuk escapes so that the water police officer arrives, but the boat owner is arrested. Sahad has a cut on his hand and sign of being drugged. When he weak, he says Selçuk keep asking about a second hospital witness. Sarhad did not now. One excited Selçuk's crime contained that the Nas who left Lebanon take damage had love for one note. If this is not surface, they may prove who appeared that the transfer and with a Sabnam first night with the baby was truly temporary. Sabnam now that the nurse names Amin, she told investigators that Amin died years ago, but the lawyer discovered not that record. Sabnam admits she never checked. Amin left at the hospital soon after the placement and sent one letter asking Sabnam to return that the child. Sabnam burned it. Teoman asked how many times someone gave her training to do that. The right thing she said more than she discovered a course. She asked with her Amin now Aras location. Sabnam said the nurse has copied his placement number. If he not survived, they may show that the Kayas would have run that the brother for the first week. Investigator traced Amy through pensions record to a village in Slashy is arrived early and caring for her sister. Before Selçuk may also serve for her, police arranged protections before anyone visit. Amin agreed to meet that the brother at the procedure officer. He bring a small notebook wrapped in clothes. It recorded at the night of the crash. The mother last request Demi temporary release to Subnums and Aras investigations number. It also recorded that Hakan arrived the next day and promised that the baby would be returned after Subnum health improved. A week later, Second come back with the elder papers. Amy refused to sign. Selçuk threatened to charge her with giving a child to an unapproved person and the hospital fired her. Amy looked at the Teoman and said she has cried his face in his memory as a baby. She apologized for no frightening her. The Teoman's ass was every dull thing and apologized must carry that the full weight of the 17 years. He is tired of deciding who deserves forgiveness. Amir says he does not have to decide. She did what the latter she should not keep nor, but she also says silence because she feared prisons. Both facts are true. Teoman thanks her for preserving their mother. What Aras asked Amir to tell Dad exactly how their mother spoke. Amir said her voice was weak but the request was clear. She did not ask that the boy remain in one house forever. She asked for that they always know each other. The difference is something in seeds to a man. He has feared that honoring his birth mother required rejected that the Akaya's illness and moving into Ra's life. Now we understand that her wish was connections not as a false shape. He tells us that they keep one to Teoman. has his everyday name and that Demi legally has a middle name. He will become Teoman Demi jealous. Akayas will he is ready to decide with her all for name fit. Ras said that the name is long enough to require a larger identity card. Teoman laughed and asked whether Aras planned to complain after searching so long. Aras said he will learn every part the file that the request will be caught. The lawyer explained that the final form may change, but the request itself is Teoman's first legal act based on full information. Samnam attacked at the hearing from a separated area because Samman is not ready to sit beside her. Hakan publicly spotted that the request when the judge asked Samman why he wanted about family name. He said one tell with her he began. One tell when he knew Anita can honestly stand alone. The court approved a temporary record while the full adoption case continued. Outside reporter again damaged a statement. This time Aras speak, he said no one found a price on when a fire two brother found the trust and trust come with the duties. He said that the media to following young people and Christian connection to the home. He said that the investigation should focus on the adult investigation that allowed record to be changing. So must stand beside him, not holding his hand his time before because he no longer needed the camera to see their bond. It exists without proof of strangers. Later, the group gathered on the beach with simple food. It is not a celebration so far a crime or that the investigations. It is a quiet recognition that the brother can now move forward under name their choices. Hakan watches from a distance and does not approach until Teoman invites him. Sabnam is not there. She turned at the pale bracelet and the letter but did not ask Teoman to read it. He placed it at the unopened letter in his bag. He said he will read it. When he can hear her word without losing her once, as evening fell, Dennis asked Teoman whether he feel different. He said he feel more responsible for himself. Before he climbed at the pressure in his stress on our family, he could not understand. Yet he now that the history, he must to do that. Danny said that the answer sound unusually premature. Sioman tell her not to worry. Because he still planned to make survivor fully choices, she says she accept advice notice. Ras and Leila sit closer to the water. Ras admit that he can imagine finding Damir as the final scene. He will see his brother embrace him and every empty part of the white cloth. Since his fighting, Thomas has opened questions about justice, family, and the future. Layla says people are not ending, they are. Aras tell her he wants to go through the next door with her. If he still wants that, Layla says yes, but they will vote not run blindly. He smile and the promise. The peaceful evening and with the lawyer's calls. Selçuk has connected that the procedures and offered to surrender in exchange for immunity. He claimed Hakan not has ordered that the destruction for the yelling scar. He say Hakan has lied about learning that the translator and was present at the hospital when Sabnam looked damaged. Hakan denied it, but investigators find a photograph in Amy notebook showing a younger man. In a hospital corridor, the face is partly hidden. It could be Hakan. Teoman asked Hakan directly whether he was there on the first night. Hakan said he arrived the next morning. Aras studied him and see that the all his stations. Hakan insists he also confessing to the terrible thing and has no reason to hide one more. Sabnam switches by phone say Hakan come before midnight. Hakan's call her a liar. He says she is finishing protected her. The brother releases then ever after that the secret, the bank record and the witness note. The central questions of Hakan first to remain unsettled. These sections end with Selçuk entered the police station with his lawyers and cries a sealed envelope. He said it contained that the original agreement signed on the night of the crash. According to him, Hakan offered money to make Demi disappear before Sebnam even healed at the chill. If the document is real, Hakan did not become part of the cover-up through love for Teoman. He planned that the stolen identity from the beginning. Teoman watches Hakan through a glass wall and asks Ras which trust they are supposed to believe now. Ras answered that they will believed at one service fairy tales inside that the interview room. Selkuk smiled toward that the glass as if it was waiting 17 years to make that the Akaya family destroy itself. Investigator opened at the envelope while camera record every movement. The agreement is typed and all company paper and Cry's second signature. It orders Selkuk remove every official link between the surviving baby and the Yellen family. It also promised money if the older signed child is moved outside that the region. Second read it and say that the signatures look like his but the words are not. He signed many blank company pages to his father during that the period because he was young and the careless. Circle could have police new test about and all signature the procedure sent the paid for ink paper and the print analysis until that the result arrive hacker must remain available for the questioning. Selkuk gives a detailed story. He says Hakan came to the road after Arhans called him. Hakan said Aras being taken in the ambulance and said that the baby survived. He heard that the children would later connected that the company to the class. According to Sahad, Hakan ordered separated hospital transfer before Sabnam separated. Hakan said that the story mixes true event with lies. He admitted that the rose, but only after ambulance had left. He has gone to the hospital to find her, has not to take a child. He says Sabnam holding damage the next morning. Selkuk say Amir photograph will prove Hassan was there earlier. The image is enlarged. A clock on the door will show a time shortly before midnight, but the face on the man is unclear. The jacket resembles one Hakan's one. Sabnam repeat that the Hakan arrived at night. Woman asked why she changed his part after protected him for years. Sabnam said because Higgins allowed her to carry that the full blame. He presented himself as the big husband who joined later when he fact he know about damage because he did. Hacker accusing her of rewriting that the story to reduce her responsibility. The agreement showed Teoman how easily two people who shares lies can now use trust as a weapon. Sailor looked beyond that the face in the photograph. A reflective hospital showed Dot the man from another angle. On his wrist is a metal watch with a dark band. Hackens wear a similar watches in the old family picture, but so did his father. Aras asked whether Hakan's father came to the hospital. Hakan says she climbed to remain at the company office at night. Salkus avoided the question. The procedure proceeded at the interview and ordered a search for the other man employment calendar, toll record and the photograph. Teoman speaks with Sabnam alone in the monitored room. He asks whether she truly say Hackens or only a man. She excuses was Hackens. She says she was grieving heavily, meditated and the confused. She remembered the jacket and voice, but the man spoke from the end of the corridor. Later, Hakan's father told her that the Hakan approval that the placement she may have joined at the pieces in her mind. Thomas is angry that she stated uncertainly has facts. Abnam sent certainly wants help for keep him. And now it may help Hakan escape. Human answered that uncertainly is not at all. If he does not now, she must say she does not now or ask for Selku through the lawyer. He asked where a guilty officer keep an agreement that prove his crime. Kalsul say it was protected. Aras asked why he surrendered only after Arhans were sexist. Selkuk Aras say he fears Arhans will blame him. Aras them asked why the document mentions moving the elder child toward that the region when recording show Aras remained nearby for 1 year. If Hakan ordered the move, the order failed. Selkus claims a clerk made a mistake, said listening from a protected hospital room, saying no request to move Aras existed. He handled that the children file and won't have seen it. The agreement began to lose less reliable. Dennis remembered that the old company paper uses a logo slightly different from one paper on the photograph. Cash vehicles business document changing logo 6 months after that the accident. The agreement cranked at the latest logo. Hacker pointed that this out of the investigators. Alcock said that the agreement may try later to record the earlier verbal order. The explanation may be possible, but it weakens. He claimed that the page was signed on the night of the crash. Ink analysis will decide it more, while adults agree over date and the signature. Teoman reaches an emotional limit. He is relieved at the situation and walks toward that the herbal Aras follow at a respectful distance. Teoman turns and asks him to stop behaving like a guard. He says every new piece of the evidence forces him to decide whether the man who teaches him to ride a bicycle also planned to race Aras. He cannot carry about image at the once. Aras says he does not need to decide because that the evidence is tested. Teoman says everyone keep telling him to wait while his feeling remain on the trail. Ras admits that he also wants an immediately answer. Part of him hopes the accident account is real because blaming Hakan completely would make that the story simple. Another part hoping it is false before he has seen Hakan being to accept responsibility. And he does not want Teoman to lose every good belief at once. Ras said having sympathy for a man connected to his stolen brother that confession helped Teoman. It proved mixed feelings are not weakness. The brothers sit at the herbals and agree that neither will force that the other to feel only anger or only love. Hakan asked that the procedure to hold it voluntary until that the document is examined. He says he does not want the board or media to claim his well-proud freedom. Teoman visited it before he entered that the holding area. Hakan treat him that the whether or not that the agreement is false, he is guilty of containing that the separation. Teoman say accepting real guilt does not mean accepting false guilt. If Selkuk forgive that the paid, they will prove it. Hakan asks why Teoman will help him. Teoman replied that justice cannot become rewind simply because rewind would be easier. The forensics report arrived at the next afternoon. The paper and the signature are 17 years old, but the printed words are much never. Macroscopic smart showed that the black page was torn for years before modern toner was added. Cell could forget that the agreement uses second real signature. Investigator arrest him for evidence tampering in addition for the old captions, yet one part remained troubling. The text include as original care number information that only a person care numbers information that he or ledger will access to the Emmy told on the hidden hospital ledger should now Selkuk may have the missing ledger or someone inside that the current investigation is feeding him information. The reflective image from ambient photograph is also improved. The man in the corridor is not Hakan, it is Hakan's father wearing his son's jacket and was to create confessions if cameras or the witness say him. Hakan remembered that his father borrowed that the jacket after arriving shocked from the rain. The older man reaches that the hospital before substance and made that the first arrangement to separate that the record. He later encouraged Sabnam to take damage because her keep provided a valuable reason for the placement. Second become involved the next morning as he originally stated he does not make him innocent. But it confirmed he did not plan the separations before Sabnam healed at the baby. Sabnam apologized for using hacker with curtainly. He said her climb nearly destroyed at the small dress he was trying to rebuild with Teoman. She replies that he once let the world believe she acted alone but recognized that their marriage has become a courtroom where each tried to reduce personal guilt. They agreed to stop speaking for each other. Any future relationship will begin only after give a full separated account. Investigators search Selkuk property and find photocopies for Amy notebook proving that he should watch reserved for the heirs. They also find a list for people scheduled to testify, including Slayla, Dennis Norris, and the Teomans. One name is marked with the red circle, Slayla beside it. It is the word pressure. I see that the list and feel panic. The investigators say Kalkuk may have planned treat to the weakened Aras. but he is now in custody. Still, Selçuk has partner and the sources inside that the investigator remain unknown. Aras want Leila moved to be a protected location. She agreed to the sensible security but refused to disappear from her one life. They reviewed that the promise they made preparation, not distance. Leila stay with the Danish at a guarded guardhouse near the station. Teoman and Ras remain at the home with police officer Hakan stay in temporary custody while financial searches continue. Sabnam is ordered to remain at the villa. Late that night, Leila received a message that appeared to come from Aras. It said Teoman has been injured and asked her to come to the clinic near in Hydra. She immediately noticed that the message called Teoman damage. Aras currently uses Teoman unless his brother chooses otherwise. She asked Nathan through a small separated number and confirm he sent nothing. The first message proves someone now their locations and private habit. Police state it is disposable phone activated near that the guest house. Sarah does not panic. She photographed that the message keep that the phone untouched and locked through the uncurtained. A parked motorcycle swayed across that the street. Dennis learned that the guard officer approached, but the rider escaped, leaving a small envelope after a bench. Inside it is a photograph of Leila and Ras at the store taken before that the investigation became public. On the back is written, "A brother returned, a gun can disappear." The three changing the center of the struggling Aras realized that the hidden group no longer fight only to bury an old crime. Someone is willing to create new pain to control them. Teoman says the three target all of them because Leila is part of the trust they built together. He refused to let Ras push her away in the name of safety. Ras says he will not insist they will identity who had access to the witness list who now at the guest house and who watches that the short week earlier. The session closes on the security recording from outside at the guest house. The escape raider faces remain covered, but the motorcycle has a broken mirror and a rear green strip. Dennis recognized it. He sued at the same motorcycle outside at the Kaya storage building on the morning she and Teoman took that the transfer form. The rider has followed them from the beginning, but Aras Rex and before Circle for agreement. Hakan studied that the maze and said that the motorcycle one belonged to the member of his one security staff, a man Sabnam claimed he dismissed months ago. Sabnam is asked about him. She said that the man did not work for her. He worked for Hakan's father and stayed near the family after the older man died. His job was never to protect the guys. His job was to make sure none of them even confused. The waters have finally become visible and visibility gives that the frightened group is first advantage. The watch is at every door. The man name is Muad. I can remember him as a quiet employee who rarely appeared in family photograph but seemed to stand near every important event. Muad drove Hakan father managed private security at the company but had the problem no one discussed at the dinner table. After the Aldous Akaya died, Noir remembered on the payroll through a consulting agreement. Hakan Sabnam knew he watched at the family, but she believed his purpose was to keep Arhans away. Now they understand that Noir protected that the cover up itself. Any persons who move toward confessions because his target events and Akaya investigators search employment record and find no current address. Murad's salary passes through that the same empty consulting company that fired Arhans, but he never withdraw money from a bank. He received cash from a company manager every month. The manager claimed he followed instructions created before Hakan took control and never met Noir directly. A sealed envelope appeared in a private officer and the clerk disappeared the next day. The routine continued for 17 years. Hakan asked why Othrider neither questioning him. The manager said Hakan's signature approval that the account Hakan recognized another set of the blank page he signed for his father. He see how carelessness because a machine that worked long after that the person who but is dead. Leila studies that the photograph taken at the store, it was captured week earlier on the day she should first tell us that trust requires honesty. Murat has watching that the beginning of the agreement. He say now their movement better than the police rules. Leila asked investigator to examine every mail from the Mila. Marina Children Home and School. Dennis helps sort that the fortress in Sivler keep the green tree motorcycle appear at the end of the frame. Mark watches Aras meets ahead following Teoman to the clinic and waiting near that the lawyer officer was Subnam confesses he has enough information to threaten anyone. Aras feels irresponsible because Leila enters more attention through him. She rejects that the idea Aras closely to the threaten her. Aras did not